All right, it is time for Chapter 9. So, Chapter 8 ended with Winky and Tip finding out that Major Nick Little had been injured and they are going to go visit him for Christmas. So, they're going to be flying in Cousin Dinky's glider all the way to Major Nick's house. We have a brand new guest reader today. This is someone we all miss dearly. She no longer works at the high school with us. She instead works at Quinn. She is Michael's absolute favorite person in the entire world. And Alex always called her Mrs. Pacheco. Can you guess who it is? Let's see. It was the Friday morning before Christmas. Streaks of light showed in the eastern sky above the town dump. The noisy engine of the gas model airplane broke the silence. 6 tiny people sneaked out of the end of a large pipe. They kept low, moving from behind a broken pail to a cardboard box, looking anxiously about them. "What's that loud noise, Della?" whispered Winky to the young woman who was leading the group. "That's an airplane," said Della. "It's my husband, Dinky. He's flying overhead in Henry Bigg's model airplane." "Henry's the big kid who lives in our house," explained Tom. "Cousin Dinky borrowed his plane." Della put a finger to her lips. "Let's keep our voices down," she said. "We don't want any mice hearing us." "Ugh, I hate mice," whispered Lucy. Della looked around the corner of the cardboard box. She pointed. "See the end of that broken ironing board over there? That's where I landed the glider before dawn this morning. We have to get over there fast so Dinky can swoop down and pick us up." "How is he going to do that?" asked Tip. Della jumped out from behind the box, walking fast. "Follow me, you'll see," she said. She looked up and waved at the plane as it passed by. "He sees us," she said. The plane dived down toward them. Suddenly, a huge yellow cat leapt up at it. There's the trash cat they told us to watch out for," said Mr. Little. "Run for it. He hasn't seen us yet." The tiny people broke into a run, scrambling over the trash. Overhead, the airplane turned and climbed high into the air. Then it dived down toward the cat. It zoomed in over the big cat's outstretched paws. By this time, Della Little and the others were climbing aboard the glider. There wasn't enough room in the cockpit for everyone, so Tom and Lucy laid down on the wings and held on hard. The cat crept toward them slowly. Then it began to run. The plane, now some distance away, gunned its engine, then raced toward the glider from the rear. "Duck your heads," Della yelled. She pointed to the hood of the glider in front of the cockpit. "Dinky's going to catch this pickup device with a fishhook on the end of the line." Everyone in the cockpit ducked down to stay out of the way of the fishhook. The plane came in low toward the glider with the fishhook trailing out behind. Winky glanced up for a second. She saw something fall from the airplane. "Yow!" screeched the cat as it leapt into the air, clawing at its tail. "Bullseye!" shouted Della. Dinky got him with one of his darts. The model airplane, its engine roaring, came in over the glider. The fishhook hit the pickup device squarely in the middle. The glider was pulled down the ironing board runway and into the air. The cat came charging up to the ironing board. It leapt frantically at the airborne glider and ran after it across the dump, but the glider was already too high for the cat to reach. "Fantastic!" yelled Della over the roar of the engine. "We did it!" "All right, Mrs. Raposo, take it away."
Winky and Tip were rushed to see Major Nick Little as soon as the glider landed on the brig's roof. First, they were taken through a secret shingle door in the roof. Then they took a ride in a tin can elevator. They went from the attic of the house to the Littles' apartment in the walls. As soon as the children saw Major Little, they knew he was going to get better. "The Big's cat hiddly stepped on me," he exclaimed. "It hurts all over, but nothing's broken. At first I thought I was a goner, but I guess I'm going to stay alive." "You're never going to die, Major Nick," Tip said. "I hope you're right, Tip," said Major Little. "I was hurting so much, I began to make plans for the end. That's why I wanted to see you two. But you've made me feel so much better, I'm just going to forget those plans. I want to tell everyone, it's great to be alive." I miss you so much, and I'm glad I got to be your guest reader for this week. Keep up the good work, and I hope to see you soon, maybe on a Zoom.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Raposo. It was great to see you again. We all miss you at the high school. Christmas at the Littles was held in a dollhouse. It was under a Christmas tree in the Biggs' living room. The dollhouse was a present for Mrs. Biggs' niece, Mary. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, while the Biggs were sleeping, the Littles passed gifts around and sang carols in the dollhouse. Major Little told everyone the story of how he found Winky and Tip. At one point, he was telling about the attack of the big black bird. Winky suddenly saw the yellow trash cat in her imagination. She gasped. "Major Nick," she said, "was there a cat there too? Was it trying to get us too?" "By golly," said Major Little, "it's possible we did see that darn cat that day. It's still there, you know." "We know that," said Tip. "That cat was after us today, but we escaped in the nick of time." Then all the Littles laughed because they knew the name of Cousin Dinky's glider was the Nick of Time. "We fought with that cat many times," said Major Little. "I'm afraid we usually lost and had to run away." After Christmas, Cousin Dinky flew Winky and Tip back to Trash City in his glider, and because there was no engine in the craft, it was quiet and they could talk. Winky looked down from on high. Everything seemed to catch her eye. She kept asking Cousin Dinky, "What's that?" and then, "What's that?" It was all Cousin Dinky could do to answer her questions and fly the glider at the same time. Then the tiny girl saw a mountain. Winky gasped, reached forward, and touched Cousin Dinky on the shoulder. "What's that?" "It's Smoke Mountain," said Cousin Dinky. "It's beautiful today, isn't it? We couldn't see it last time because of the clouds." "But," said Winky, "I think I have seen it." "I doubt that, Winky," said Cousin Dinky. "You and Tip have been living underground in Trash City for 7 years, and you were just babies when you were taken there." "Well, I've never seen it," said Tip, "so how could you?" As far as Winky knew, Cousin Dinky and her brother were right. She couldn't actually remember seeing the mountain before, but there it was, looming high above her against a bright blue sky, and it looked familiar. "Of course it looks familiar, Winky. That's where you came from." Oh, man. So, Winky and Tip went to go visit Major Nick Little, and on their way back, they caught a glance of Smoke Mountain. And we know Winky and Tip came from Smoke Mountain. Are they ever going to find their way back home? We're going to have to keep reading and find out. Thank you, Mr. Pozo, once again for joining us in today's chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go complete your reading comprehension, vocab, and predictions in the Google Classroom, and I will see you on Friday for Chapter 10. Adios!